makes the Air Force triple option unique? I mean, you're a connoisseur of the triple option. What is it that they do that's unique to the option?
Very creative. You know, both Troy and Mike, you know, they come from the Fisher to Berry option school. And so they very varied in what they can do. They run every option known to man, triple, midline, veer, counter, trap, speed. You know, they run it all from a variety of information, zone option. And so, you know, we actually, our staff loves watching their stuff. You know what I mean? Feel like they're a super creative staff. And so, I mean, they have a lot of good ideas. You know, Coach Steven's one of the best option guys around. Obviously, Troy, you know, too. So both of those guys and all of their staff, they know what they're doing.
And I would imagine not having spring to maybe go up against some of the scout stuff you would do for it, having this extra week, is that giving you a little better sense of being able to prepare for it?
I mean, you do the best you can, you know, with the time you have, and do the best you can. And the speed of the game will be different, obviously, but, you know, you do the best you can. And looks like they got pretty much their whole offense coming back, so it'll be a tough challenge for us.
What's your takeaway over the years coaching out there, taking teams and seeing how your players respond to the altitude?
I mean, you got to play. You know what I mean? We don't talk much about it. We just go over there, try to play, and get ready to go.
What's impressed you most of how your team's rebounded in practice now from the Tulane game?
We'll see how we play. You know, Scott, we feel like our practices were okay. We had exams last week, so those are always a tough week. You know, we're hoping to have a really good, crisp week this week. So we'll have a better indication of how all that's going with this week's practice.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Scott.
Steven Ruiz.
Hi, Coach. This is Stephen Rose with AmeriForce Media. First off, thanks for taking the time. In this pandemic world that we're living in, and with only Air Force cadets being allowed in the stadium on Saturday, how does that change the energy surrounding the game, in the atmosphere surrounding the game, do you think, especially being that you guys are playing against another service academy?
Well, it's, you know, I'm sure they'll have them right behind our bench like they normally do. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know, they'll probably have them spread out. Normally, they're all congregated behind our bench. But I imagine with the social distancing stuff, they'll probably have to spread them out. But, I mean, we didn't have any fans for the BYU game. I think only the family members were there for the Tulane game. So this will be interesting with the cadets there. I mean, every game's different. I mean, I really don't know what to expect. None of us have done this before. So, you know, obviously we've played there many times when it's a full stadium. This will be different.
Do you think it's any advantage to your team that you guys have played 2 games where this will be their first game?
I don't know. I mean, we'll see when the game plays. You know what I mean? Every game's different. You know, we'll just do the best we can when we go.
Coach, this potentially could be your 100th victory at Navy. What does that mean to you on a personal level, and potentially that it could come against another service academy?
Well, it's never about me. You know what I mean? I'm just the head coach. There are so many great players that are here, that have been here, so many great coaches. It's a program deal. And you know, all of our arrows are trying to get the W versus the Air Force, which we know is hard. Playing there so many times, you know, this is a tough place to play.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Chris Vanini.
Yeah, now that it's kind of been confirmed that Air Force has had in the high 30s turnbacks, and most of those guys, it sounds like, are on defense. What are your just kind of thoughts on that whole situation?
I don't know, because like I said, they're very similar to us. You know what I mean? Air Force is very similar to us. And so you have your JV team, you have your prep school. The guys kind of grow up in your program, so to speak. So it's not like you get junior college guys. It's the first time in your program. And so even if they're new guys, they're guys that have been there. So, you know, we expect them to be a good team. We just don't know who they are. You know what I mean? And that's all we try to look at. We're trying to see who the players are. But Some of them we recruited, some of them we didn't. So you just try to get from a personnel scouting report, try to see where they are. But I mean, other than that, don't take much more than that, Chris.
I know you've been, I guess, frustrated at certain aspects over this game happening, but now that it's here and it's game week, does it feel like it's back to just kind of being about football right now?
No doubt. It's definitely about football right now. And so it's, once I got that frustration out, it was all about football. So, we got to get ready. They're a good program, great coaches, great players. It's going to be a tough game. We know how tough it is to play up there, and we're looking forward to going.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, who's next? Mike James, you have anything?
Yeah, Coach, this is Mike James from Rivals. It seems like a lot of times in this game, it seems less about X's and O's and more about, just beating the guy lined up in front of you, like the guy who can use his hands to beat a cut block or shed the block or do something like that where that play kind of is what determines the outcome of the game. Do you find that to be the case more than most games?
Well, I guess it's always about that. I mean, all the games really come down to fundamentals, but there's some truth to what you said, because there's normally no tricking of guys. I mean, they don't trick us. Every now and then they'll get a trick play in, but as far as the option stuff, it's more execution, blocking, getting off blocks, like you said. So all the stuff that you talked about, Mike, are exactly right. Just you got to be able to fundamentally sound, and the guys that can do it more than the other guys, the team's going to win. But as far as familiarity with their offense and our familiarity with their defense and vice versa, and we know each other. So it's just a matter of, like you said, who can be better at their fundamentals and execute better.
Does that, because it's so much about the fundamentals in a game like this, that change your approach to how you practice, or do you just do what you do?
Yeah, we do what we do, just get ready, and there's always fundamentals involved. But our core practices are always like that, like most teams. You always start with fundamentals, got groups, team stuff. You start in parts, and as far as teaching, that's how we always teach. Meetings, walkthroughs, group, individual, group, team. You just break things up in parts, but you always focus on fundamentals.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Mike.
Kareem Copeland.
Hey, Ken, Kareem from the Washington Post. I know you've talked a lot, especially over this last week, about just the unknowns. And like you just said, you're not exactly sure all of their personnel. It is what it is. You practice how you practice. But what do you say to the guys about that part? Just because, guys get so used to practicing and preparing in a certain way. And when this aspect is missing, I'm just curious, how do you kind of, I don't know if it's explain it to the guys or just what do you say to the guys about missing that aspect and not letting that part become a thing for them?
Well, we just do the best we can in our scouting reports. We talk about what we know about the people that we know from the information that we got. We just do the best you can in your scouting reports, and you just go from there. We'll say, well, we don't know who this kid is, or we've seen him, or if we don't got any tape on a certain player, maybe we saw him in high school or that sort of stuff. But you just do the best you can at the scouting report, especially at this late date. You don't really worry about anything else. If you got the information, great. If you don't, you don't. You just press forward.
And just one last one. Just curious how Dalen has looked this week or during this last since Tulane.
Dalen continues to work hard. He's a great young man. Continues to work hard.
All right. Thank you.
Graham Knight.
Coach Graham Knight from the Academy Football Report. So to kind of build off of what Kareem was just talking about, how much does this season throw off the normal rhythms? How would you describe it for somebody that's not on the inside of it? What's the experience like?
It's totally different. This is a totally different deal. I think you see from the teams that are playing, just all the upsets early on. You can see some of the teams that have prepared well. It's just different. Everybody's got different legislation. Everybody's got different rules at their school. Everybody's got different rules in their state and their county. So it's just not normal. But we all recognize that. I mean, it's not normal for anybody in this world. You know what I mean? So you just got to do the best you can. Nobody wants to hear football coaches complaining about they don't have this, they don't have that. You know what I mean? Just there's people losing jobs, lives have been lost. But football is very, very different. And quite frankly, some guys have done better than others in preparation. Some guys have had more opportunities to prepare their teams. Some guys haven't. But we all recognize that, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know, it's the season. And so whatever you get, whatever ingredients that, you know, you got, some guys got a full kitchen worth of stuff they can work with, and some guys just got flour and baking powder and put some water in and see what happens. Hopefully the cake rises, but I mean, that's all you can do. I mean, but it's just different, but we all know that. I mean, the world's not different. The world's not the same right now.
Yeah, got it. To build off of that, though, the Mountain West certainly, I don't know if they heard you complain or not, but any comment to the fact that they're going to come back in action on October 24th with 8 games, and any idea if that'll impact Air Force's schedule at all?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's great for all the young men. You know, we're all trying to keep our players safe. That's first and foremost. But if we can do that, I think our players want to play. You know, I think people are recognizing, hey, we don't, you know, we're not going to have full stadiums, and so we're not going to jeopardize the fans either. And there have been games, a ton of games played already, and people have done it safely. And so I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome that Mountain West can come back and play for their kids, for their programs, for those with their jobs and livelihoods. You know what I mean? You know, we're all trying to be safe, but I mean, our players have done this since they've been, I mean, everybody's played since they've been a little league. Guys in coaching been involved. This is our livelihood. And so if we can do it safely and the Mountain West can come back and they're able to do it, I think that's awesome.
All right, terrific. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Bill Wagner.
Hey, Coach. Bill Wagner from the Baltimore Sun and the Capital Gazette. We've seen an Air Force depth chart, and they're all top offensive linemen are all there, and this is a pretty good Air Force offensive line. A couple of those guys are Outland Trophy candidates. Can you talk about the offensive line of Air Force?
Really, really good. I mean, it's offensive line coming back to 111 games last year. I mean, as good a Air Force line that I've seen. Well coached, physical. They know what they're doing. You know, there's great chemistry, and the O-line, that's a big part of it. It's just chemistry, working with each other. You know, every O-line has calls that you make at the line, but when you really get to know each other, a lot of times it can be nonverbal gestures. You know what I mean? It's just people know each other. They know how to play with each other, and so very impressive line. Like I said, they're a good line last year, so obviously. Obviously a huge concern for us.
And are you familiar with either of these quarterbacks that are listed as co-starters? Has Zeke Daniels and Warren Bryan?
You know, we're continuing to look at them. You know what I mean? We'll see. You know what I mean? We'll see if those are the guys. Who knows? You know, our man Hammond may show up, so we'll see. Well, you know, we're who knows? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Hammond comes trotting out there on game day.
It appears that some of their top returning defenders have done the turnbacks. Does that change anything, or do you just presume that whoever's showing up on Saturday is a good player?
Oh yeah, we know that. I mean, they're going to be good players. They're going to be they're going to be tough. You know, they're going to know what they're doing. I mean, nothing changes for us, wise. We know this is going to be a tough game. I mean, all Service Academy games are grinders. I mean, they're hard-fought games, and we don't expect anything differently.
And lastly, you all have had trouble winning out there. It's been since 2012, which was Keenan. I don't know what year, but Keenan was the quarterback.
Freshman.
Go ahead, Strauss. What was it?
Freshman.
freshman. Wow, that is a while. And I know you don't want to remember the last time you played out there. Just can you talk about getting that monkey off the back, beating Air Force on its home field?
Yeah, to me, every game. I mean, we don't. The media likes to look at that kind of stuff, but we're trying to win this game. You know what I mean? None of that matters. I mean, we just got to find a way to win this game. That's all that matters. I mean, the last game doesn't matter. BYU game doesn't matter. Tulane doesn't matter. Temple game doesn't matter. All that matters is this week, and that's the way you always have to look at it. I know people always, get on Belichick when I was talking, on the Cleveland and all this, whatever. But that's really how you have to approach this game. You can't look back. You can't look forward. You just look at the task at hand.
What makes the Air Force triple option so tough to defend?
Any triple option really, not just specific to Air Force, but we go against the option every year with our offense and in camp and in spring ball and stuff, and just having good eyes really is the biggest thing. If you don't have great eyes, then you're reading the wrong things, you're not reading your keys, and all the misdirection will get to you.
Yeah, I hear the coaches always talking about that eyes. Is it seeing the right things at the right time?
Yeah. I mean, every player needs to be doing their job. Every position has different keys, and if they're not on theirs, then they'll be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you're likely to get gashed.
What's the most important role for the Bandit that you play against the triple option?
Same as everybody else, just doing my job. I'm often reading the A-backs and their motions and any movements that they're doing, and then really just never getting too aggressive. Always expecting a pass, but they run the ball a lot, but can never get too aggressive.
What worked well for you last year? You had 9 tackles in the Air Force game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard game not to get fired up for. So everyone's flying around. I think a lot of tackles just come from effort. You want to play hard for the guy next to you. I mean, just as a unit, I think we were pretty disciplined last year, and everybody did their job, and that allowed me and everybody else to have success.
What have your teammates said to you, what it's like playing in the altitude out at Air Force?
It's different, but it's not something that you should overthink. They have to play in it too. So guys who've gone there before and played fine and beat them, and, we always have good games with them. So, it's definitely, I don't even know what to expect, honestly, because I've never been up there, but it should be an experience for sure.
And coming off the game 2 weeks ago, big game for another New Jersey guy, Mark Walker, talking about St. Peter's prep and bragging. Don Bosco still have the dominance over St. Peter's?
Yeah, we always will.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Stephen Ruiz.
Hi, Kevin. This is Stephen Ruiz. I work for AmeriForce Media. Thanks for taking the time. I just wanted to talk to you, obviously, with going to Air Force, only cadets are going to be allowed in the stadium. How do you think the environment, you mentioned you've never played there before, but playing another service academy, just the environment being different, what are you expecting in terms of the energy surrounding the game when you guys get there and not having a crowd there?
Yeah, it's definitely been a big adjustment, just in general, playing BYU with no fans, and then Tulane, I think it was just parents there. So it's definitely different without a crowd and all the noise and all that. But, if it's just their cadets there, you can expect them to probably heckle us a lot. And, obviously it'll be pretty heavy Air Force fans regardless. But so, maybe the noise level won't be as loud, but I don't expect the atmosphere of the game between the players to change at all.
How much of a factor do you think it'll be that, although you guys have had some bye weeks, you guys have played 2 games, this will be their season opener. How much do you think that will affect them and what you guys have seen from them?
Yeah. Obviously we haven't seen them play a game this year yet. We really don't know what they look like. We're expecting them to be very good on offense, and that we're going to have our hands full for sure this week. But I expect them to be ready for us. They've been preparing for a while now. So I'm sure they've been practicing hard and scrimmaging and things like that. So I expect them to be prepared for us.
Thank you.
Who else? Wags, go ahead.
Kevin, you had talked about preparing for the Air Force option Coach Newberry had kind of lamented that normally you would have had about 100 and plus repetitions against the option, or more than that, hundreds, through spring camp and August training camp, but you didn't get those live reps against the option. Are you concerned that you're not where you normally would be in terms of preparing for an option attack?
Yeah, I mean, that definitely hurts us that, we can get those reps against the offense during spring ball and during fall camp and all that. But the good thing is that nobody had spring ball in the country. So I think that as long as we have great discipline this week and we're really, locked in and all into our assignments and all that, I think we'll be just fine.
Obviously, you all have not won at Air Force for quite some time. I don't know, you haven't been part of that history personally, but I'm sure you're aware that Navy hasn't won out there since 2012, I believe. Can you talk about how important it is to try to finally beat Air Force on its home field?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we got the CIC back last year, and that's one of our goals every single year is to win the CIC, and this is just one part of that. So whether it's here or there, getting a W is huge.
That's it for me for now.
Go ahead, Graham.
Hey, Kevin. Graham Knight from the Academy Football Report. Thanks for taking the time. So you guys come off this big win 2 weeks ago from Tulane, then you have a week off. Is that prepare you more, or does the momentum kind of wear off after a week? How big a factor is the week off?
No, I think it's good for us, honestly. Especially, like previous question said, we didn't get as many reps in the off season against the option. So this actually gives us two weeks to prepare rather than, having a week in between where you have to prepare for another team. So anytime we have more time to prepare for the option is a good thing.
Gotcha. And then one last question. Talk to me a little bit about the emotion going into this game. Talk a little bit about the competitive spirit. Air Force, I think, has won more CIC trophies than anybody else. They certainly like to, I don't know, brag is the right word, but what does it feel like going into this game? I know it's an important game for you guys, but tell me what it's like.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of our biggest games of the season. Like I said before, winning the CIC is one of our goals every single year. And, I was lucky enough to play in it last year, so I kind of understand the emotions going into it. But, the most important thing is not to let all the external factors get into your head and really just focus on your job. And if you do that well for 60 minutes, I think we can get a W.
All right. Well, good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott Wyckoff, any follow-ups? Steven, any follow-ups?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Wags, any follow-ups?
Well, yeah, I don't know if you're aware, Kevin, but Coach Niumatalolo is on the verge of 100 victories. Is that something that this team would love to get him? Especially, I mean, I could imagine better 100th victory than beating Air Force. Yeah,
I mean, we love Coach Niuma. I actually didn't know that, but he's one of the best leaders that I've ever been around, and really cares for us and loves us. So getting that for him would be a huge deal.